It's been more than 3 decades since Anita Hill helped change the way our country views sexual harassment. It was back in 1991. She was a young attorney and professor, and she testified that her former boss and then Supreme Court nominee, Clarence Thomas, sexually harassed her. The visuals are unforgettable. She was speaking to an all-white male Senate panel during his Supreme Court nomination hearings. Thomas denied wrongdoing and went on to serve on the nation's highest court, where he is still today. Hill has since then dedicated her career to fighting gender-based violence. Her book, Believing: Our 30-Year Journey to End Gender Violence, is out in paperback today, and Anita Hill joins us now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I will say that the hardback had your picture on the cover, and I think that led some people to think it was a memoir or something. But in fact, there are personal stories here, but really it's about the bigger fight.
So it is about the bigger fight and the fight that is ongoing and has been for 30 years and has been evolving. We are not where we were 30 years ago. When I testified, people didn't even know that there was such a thing as sexual harassment. Yeah. And then the people who knew about it didn't know that it was against the law.
They didn't know what they could do about it.
They didn't know what they could do about it, even though it was against the law. Mm-hmm. So we have advanced from there. But the way I see the problem now, after 30 years and the literally tens of thousands of people who have contacted me about their experiences, the way I see it now is that it's a bigger problem than we ever imagined 30 years ago.
You liken it to boiling the ocean, trying to get your arms around it to understand it. What do we need to be doing differently as a country?
Well, as a country, I think we've moved forward culturally. We've learned more. We have better knowledge. Nevertheless, I think where we are right now is that we know there's a problem. We say we're against it.
Right.
But when it comes down to it and we have to act, we're not necessarily ready to hold people accountable. And I mean even hold our institutions accountable. Again, all of that is changing and evolving, but we're still leaving too many opportunities for people to abuse folks in the workplace. And as I say, this is a very inclusive problem. It leaves us to where young people are being raped on college campuses, sexually assaulted on college campuses. There's not enough response to it. We are still dealing with problems with intimate partner violence, which during the pandemic skyrocketed. And there was just not enough facilities to deal with and house the people who were left homeless because of that.
Anita, you say there's no longer enough to say we don't discriminate against women, because we do. No longer okay to say we don't know the facts, but we'll make decisions without the facts. No longer okay to say he said, she said, excuse, and do nothing. So, but you said this is a period of reckoning. It's not a marathon now, you say it's a relay.
Well, it is a relay, and what I mean by that is that, I thought it would be over a lot sooner.
Are you amazed 30 years later you were still talking about this?
Oh, I am amazed. It wasn't part of my life plan.
Of course.
And I thought really, or very early on, that what would happen was that we would find the right processes and the right procedures and the right leaders, and people would bring their complaints and the law would change.
Yeah.
Well, not only the law has been very slow to react, and even in 2013, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that she felt that her colleagues were on this unrestrained course to actually limit the protections, to corral the protections. So we've made some progress,
of course,
but there's still so much to go, and we have to look at our systems,
and speaking of that, I wanted to ask you about those systems. You talk about in the book how gender violence is enriched in the healthcare system, in offices, even in schools. And we have to change the way we educate the youth. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, if I had to pick one place to start, it would be how we teach our children about the issues that...
Use children, not teenagers, not young adults, children.
Children. I mean, we give children wrong messages.
Girls and boys.
Girls and boys. We tell girls that if a boy picks on them, teases them, pinches them, pulls their bra strap or pull down their pants, it's because they like them. And what we're doing is we're
Boys
setting
just
them
being
up.
boys.
And it's boys being boys. And that's the way they are. And that's we're grooming them essentially for abuse, later abuse. And we're really grooming the boys to say that the only appropriate behavior is abusive and aggressive behavior. And it does a disservice to both. The girls and the boys.
Yeah.
And, and we then know that the problem gets exacerbated when we have non-binary youth who are dealing with these issues because of the way that they express their gender. So this is a big problem. Start with children.
And it affects all of us.
And it affects all of us.
Which is why you have the term gender violence. It's all encompassing. Anita Hill, thank you very much. The paperback edition of Believing, it is on sale now. It's very good. Pick it up. We'll be right back.